So this is Arike Ogunbowale, one of the best players in the WNBA. And a player that when she's playing at her best is the best player in the WNBA. When she can shoot her team out of games, but she's doing that a lot less recently than she had been recently. So not going to complain too much about that there. But she has the ability, her and her Dallas Wings, to completely ruin the season for the Chicago Sky. If you guys don't know what I mean by that, the Dallas Wings in the Breanna Mabry trade have a pick swap with the Chicago Sky. And when the Breanna Mabry trade was made, I repeat, when the Breanna Mabry trade was made, Chicago were 10-14. They were 10-14 when that trade was made. The Dallas Wings, I think, were 6. They'd won 6 games. So the Sky were 4 games ahead of the Dallas Wings when this happened. And it looked comfortable. Not only that, it looked like it was going to be the dream maybe that would win a couple of games. It looked like the Chicago Sky weren't going to go into absolute free fall. And obviously they got an extra pick from Breanna Mabry. But what was looking like it was going to happen was either Chicago Sky were going to scrape into the 8th seed, or if they fell down, it meant that they would at least get their lottery pick because Dallas were not going to make the playoffs. There is a very, very decent chance that Dallas Wings make the playoffs. The Dallas Wings, yes, they lost to the Indiana Fever. Fever are a good team. They are off. Before that, they had wins against the Lynx, the Aces, and a 20-point comeback in the 4th against the Sparks. And they weren't even that bad against the Fever. They really weren't. Like, if this was a game where they were blown out, it would be different, but they weren't that bad. But, oh my god, I can't even get into this game. Oh my, the WNBA website is the worst. It's actually the worst thing ever. It's I actually cannot click into that game. It's actually a joke. Oh my god. This is the worst website ever. Anyone who's ever used the WNBA website, it is actually barely functioning. It barely functions. But if you want to look at these two teams they have played against each other 3 times. And right now, I think Chicago have the tiebreak, which is the only positive thing, is that Chicago do have the tiebreak over them. But to end the year, did they play the Chicago? They played them again. And they played the Chicago Sky again. So it's no guarantee that the Sky will get that tiebreak. And also, they are facing the Mystics, the Dream, and the Sky 3 games in a row. Yes, they're probably going to lose 2 to the... They've got a really tough one in there. You got 2 in the Liberty, 2 against the Liberty, 1 against the Storm. But there is a possibility that the Aces game doesn't matter and they'll win that one. There's a possibility that they're probably going to lose both of these. The Storm game doesn't really matter. They might win that one. So if they win these 3 games, they're likely going to be in that 8th spot. And it's not like the Chicago Sky, other than their 1 game against the Dream, is have the easiest record in the world either, or the easiest run in the world. With Chennedy Carter in hospital, they probably have lost her. And the big difference, obviously Satou is a huge difference, but if you want to look at these games, are you looking at Arike, 45.8% from the field. Like, for Arike, that's really good. If Arike... Hey, look, Arike has not shot above 50%. She has shot 50% in games this season. She's not shot above 50%. So we saw she had 34 points. Oh, she shot below 50%. But still, made 9 threes. 34, 25, 20, 33. And like, look at these percentages. 48, 45, 41, 47. Like, this is Arike, by the way. This is somebody who shoots 36% from the field. She actually shot 50% from the field once this year. But you're seeing it. Ever since their, like, second game when they came back and they lost to the Sparks. Or, say, no, it was the second game. Ever since they've come back, she is shooting over 40% from the field. Which is huge. Because, again, look, if you were looking at Arike's percentages earlier in the year, a lot of them were in the 30s. She had games where she shot 13% from the field. Like, that was 23%. She was 7 for 30. She was 7 for 30 in a game. Like, we've never seen anything like that. But now Arike is obviously looking good. But also, and obviously another huge thing is Satou Sabally. Satou Sabally coming into this team. If they had Satou during the playoffs, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, they're in the playoffs no matter what if Satou plays. Like, she's averaging 26-4 since coming back. 26-4. And by the way, she's only playing her way into shape. She was not in shape in the Olympics. And, like, she's doing it on 157% game, 171-50. Even when she shoots badly against the Fever, she still gets 25 on 16 shots, because she can attack the basket. Like, Satou is one of the best. Like, Satou is probably the best free agent this year. The thing is, though, like, Dallas will core her. Because, and then obviously Dallas coring her means they will probably lose Natasha Howard, who's also hooping. You've got Natasha Howard out here, who's chipping in with like 18 points, 17 points, 24 points, 30 points, 16 points. They're an informed team. And they could absolutely take down the Sky. And that's where one of the biggest problems is. Like, if you want to look at the odds right now of getting the number 1 pick. So right now, if you want to look at the WNBA odds, the Washington Mystics have a great chance of winning it because they're second last, and Dallas won too many games last year. Like, Dallas won too many games last year to have more than a 10% chance of getting this. But if you want to look at the 2-year record, the Sky have a worse 2-year record than Atlanta. So if Dallas can make the playoffs, because of this weird system of a draft, it gives them... Dallas have a better chance of getting the number 1 overall pick if they make the playoffs than if they don't. Because Chicago are going to have a worse likely going to have a worse record than Atlanta. So what it's probably going to do is, it's going to... Dallas making the playoffs lowers the Mystics' chance at number 1, and it raises their chance. It gives the Mystics a 37% instead of 44% chance. And it also means that they get a 17%. The Sparks are last. Sparks could win. Like, there's no way the Sparks are not finishing last in this. But it's all about, like, you can see the 2-year records. And, like, the Mercury obviously aren't going to fall out of the playoffs. That's just not happening. So it is all, like, Dallas making the playoffs increases their chance at number 1 pick. Some people be like, oh, but what if, like, Dallas need to start losing games and stuff? They need a tank to increase their chances. No. Ironically, Dallas overtaking Chicago increases Dallas's chance of getting number 1. Like, the 2-year rule is crazy. And the worst part about it is that you get the 6th pick. Chicago, if they can get into this, if them and Dallas end up in this, is what I think that they were hoping for in the Mabry trade would happen. So that worst case scenario, even if they get, say, number 2, and they have to swap with Dallas, it's still a top 4 pick. And then with the top 4 pick, you might get yourself Olivia Miles. At pick number 6. At pick number 6, you're like, it's very, very tough. It's very tough at number 6 to get really anyone. Like, Olivia Miles isn't going to be there. Paige Beckers isn't going to be there. You're, like, relying on maybe taking a Raven Johnson who doesn't fit because she can't shoot. Or, like, picking Tina Pau over, like, taking her higher than she should, because realistically she's not going to fall to you with the Connecticut pick. So, Arike Satou, Sabally, Natasha Howard, JC Sheldon, and Tiara McCowan, their other bigs, there is a possibility that the Sky have their season absolutely ruined by a damn good Dallas team who are starting to click at the right time.